Spinning tops, one of the oldest toys in human history. Simple in design, yet endlessly fascinating. Over centuries, they've spun their way through cultures and childhoods around the world. But in the early 2000s, a new kind of spinning top emerged, one that would ignite fierce competition and intrigue millions around the world. Inspired by traditional Japanese spinning tops known as Begoma, Japanese toy company Takara Tomy launched Beyblade in 1999. To help promote the toy line to young kids, Takara Tomy also developed an accompanying anime and manga series. They later partnered with American toy company Hasbro to localize and distribute the franchise in Western markets. This game has sparked small, competitive communities all over the world. And today, we'll take a look at one of these communities and learn more about how this game has affected their lives.
I started as an adult. My wife, her friends have kind of an inside joke about becoming like professional Beybladers. And then they ended up buying a old set from Target from the last generation. And we had a really good time as kind of on her birthday, just having fun. And they were interested in I kind of want to play more. This is fun. And then that turned into, coming out here 2 days a week to, play with people and see everyone.
I just thought it was a cool thing because, as a kid, you can build stuff. You know how Legos? There's Legos and you can just build a house or whatnot. But Beyblade is kind of similar in a way where you can build your own Beyblade and you can also see it work in action. So if I built a stamina Beyblade or an attack Beyblade, then I can actually see it working how I intended it to be. So I just thought it was pretty fascinating. So what got me into competitive Beyblade? I think this was post-COVID, and I bought some Beyblades because of COVID. I think a lot of people did as well. And I was just curious, where could I actually play with people at tournaments? I was just curious if there were tournaments because I would just play with my friends, but my friends weren't into Beyblades. I would just bring it and they would just try it out. I'm like, yeah, I think I wanted a little bit more competition.
Well, I've been playing Beyblade ever since I was 12. I started with Metal Fusion, and I loved Galaxy Pegasus. And then I took a hiatus when I started high school. But then, once I graduated college, I got into Beyblade X, and it was super fun. I played with some of my friends. And then I decided to start going to some tournaments, and I made a lot of friends at those tournaments, so I kept on going, and now I'm pretty good, I guess. Well, I am currently ranked number 1 in Southern California, or California as a whole.
I got into Beyblade because of that guy right there. Me and him, we went out to buy some Beyblades. From Target, and then we got into it. And yeah. He said, let's go to a tournament. I was like, iffy at first. But then we ended up going to a burst tournament and we met everybody. Yeah. And then we just kept on showing up to more and more tournaments, meeting new people, which was cool.
When I was 5 years old, I watched the original show. And then last year, I was just browsing YouTube and found a video for X and then just got sucked back into the hobby. I just have always been a competitive person, whether it's games, sports, or anything. I always like to compete any way I can. And so it just naturally lined up into me that way. So I just started naturally playing by going to events and stuff like that.
Now, you may be wondering how the game that brought all these people together actually works. Let's dive into the basic rules behind it. In its simplest form, Beyblades come in 3 simple parts. First, you have the top part. They're known as layers. The shape of layers determine how a Beyblade will make contact with another and is where a majority of the weight comes from. Next, you have the middle part. These are currently called ratchets. Ratchets help with balance, the height of your Beyblade, and is the part that's keeping your entire Beyblade from falling apart. And lastly, we have probably the most important part, the tip. These are currently called bits. Bits determine the movement of your Beyblade. When setting up a Beyblade, there are 4 main builds you can construct. First, we have an attack type. Attack types are aggressive, and as the name entails, consistently attack their opponent. But attack types lack stamina, and tend to slow down after a few seconds. Next we have stamina types. Stamina types spin longer, and try to outlast their opponent, but they are easily pushed around and knocked out of the stadium. Next, we have defense types. Defense types are tanks, trying to take every hit they can but lack stamina, meaning just like attack types, after a while they start slowing down. Finally, we have balance types. Balance types are weird. They try to combine the aspects of multiple types into one. That means balance types are like a jack of all trades, being decent at a few things but not really dominant in one. This leads to a slightly more complicated game of rock, paper, scissors. Attack knocks around stamina, stamina outspins defense, defense tanks attack, and balance is there too, I guess. A battle is actually won by either outspinning your opponent, knocking them out, or making them explode. Now that you've learned the basics of Beyblade, we'll begin to learn more about these players and their experience with the game.
But in terms of hosting, you have to do it, well, not have to, but we choose to do it through the WBO. We like that organization compared to some other organizations that exist. For example, there's one that's an 18+ only league called the BBAX. They've been trying to have a presence here on the West Coast. They're upset that they don't because they don't like the exclusionary practices. This is a children's game. We need to be able to have kids here who are allowed to be around adults, are allowed to participate in these kinds of games, because at the end of the day, this is a good growing experience for them to be able to actually play the game that they also love just as much as we do in a nice, like a safe setting. A lot of the organizers do this from their heart and from their own, their own resources. Being an organizer is certainly not easy. It can wear people down. Burnout is a very real thing when you're hosting, 50, 60 people sometimes every week or every other week. It can become a lot.
I was just making videos for fun. Like literally, like I would see something happen and I'd be like, oh, that looks cool. I'm gonna record it and I'm gonna post it. And then eventually one video that I posted, I think it was, what if Rock Leone had an evolution in Beyblade? And I posted it, and I think that video got like over 100,000 views on TikTok. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna recreate the series. And I made a lot of those videos. And eventually I moved to YouTube, and I just kept posting, and eventually I am where I am now. Like, I just hit 100,000 not too long ago, 100,000 subs, which is actually the biggest amount I've had out of every platform. And I was able to make 2 shops from that and also run the channel. It just turned into a hobby, into like an actual like career in some sense.
Well, I just started going to tournaments. I thought that was fun. And then I just heard how many people were taking it like seriously and how there was a Beyblade meta and stuff. So I decided to like try my hand at it and see if I could get to a top placing level, and I was able to do it.
I need to get into the right stance, so I need to squat. I need to pull it hard, so I need to do my back workouts. It's all for Beyblade. It depends on how well I do. Usually I try to do my best. If I'm losing, I'll start trolling a little bit, just having fun. But yeah, it's usually more just have fun, really. I usually hit legs on one day, legs, back, shoulder, and then legs again.
I take them seriously to the point of I enjoy practicing, like I'm on my own time. Like I enjoy spending 20, 30 minutes just making sure that my launches are like consistent, or like, hey, like I want to use this combo. What are his strengths and weaknesses? Because I do want to come out and at least perform well. But in terms of like making or breaking my day, it's really not a big deal.
Something I don't like. Okay, some people take this a bit too seriously, a little too seriously. And I think majority of us here, we are competitive, but at the end of the day, we're just trying to have fun. But sometimes the people who take it a little bit too seriously, they can ruin the hobby a little bit.
It's just there's a lot of entitled people, and I think if you're trying to put others down, you're playing the game wrong, in my opinion.
There's some people in our Discord that are not part of SoCal, and they talk a lot in our Discord. And it's just like, I don't understand why you're making so much drama in our community when you're not part of our community, But besides that, I love everyone here. Everyone's chill, they're cool. I love hanging out with them.
As part of the administration team, we have to deal with if there's any, if people have bad conduct, if they're unsportsmanlike, if they steal, if they say things that make people uncomfortable. I'm very proud of the fact that the admin team takes these seriously and are very, very quick to act on it. We've had to ban several people just within the last year, just because we don't want that kind of behavior in the community. People who are, sexist, they're saying really negative things to some of the female competitors. or like predatory behavior. People who have been caught stealing have to get just completely kicked out. It's just like with any other community, especially considering LA has one of the largest Beyblade communities in the entire country. We don't really appreciate how good we have it. And I'm proud of the fact that I'm on the team that helps to keep it that way. And a lot of people don't see the drama or know the drama. And I like that. I like the fact that just a handful of us, we don't mind the responsibility of taking it on and making sure everyone is feeling safe and having a good time.
Our community is really good. I think we're in a small bubble. Like, our community is great. I've been to others, not the best, but the people here are just amazing. I don't know.
My favorite memory, honestly, it's just whenever I win. Whenever I'm on top. I remember there was this one tournament, there's 2 back-to-back tournaments, and I topped first place from both of them. It was a medal tournament and an X tournament, and I back-to-back won, and that was pretty memorable.
It's a lot of RNG, you know. At the end of the day, as soon as they leave your launcher, there's nothing you can do about, you know, what happens after the fact. You can practice and practice all you want, but one bad hit and boom, you're out. And that's the fun of the game, is you can have someone who's never played before, who's a literal 7-year-old, just beat, you know, a 25-year-old with a full deck, just because he got lucky. And that's kind of what makes it fun. You can come to any Beyblade tournament and you can win it. It doesn't matter who you are or how long you've been playing, you have a shot, and you can be up, you know, 4-0 and still lose. And that's just the game we play. And being able to still have fun in a game like that, I think it's important. And I think it's important that people don't take it too seriously.
So there was one of my tournaments last year, I want to say around like July, where I had a kid come up all the way from San Diego to Lakewood just to be able to play with some peers. And he was having like kind of a rough day. He was like 0-4 on the day, and I was his last match. I gave it my best shot, but he ended up winning, and I had all my friends surround and watch and explode and just hype him up when he won. And like, the mom sent me a video after the tournament, and you just see the biggest smile on this kid's face. I love giving back to the community, making memories for these kids that might not have other places they can do them at. It's a pretty fun cause.
I do enjoy the community as well. It's been great. It's helped me get out of my shell, even if I'm almost 30. You know, when you work from home, you're just sitting in front of a desk 8 hours a day without a whole lot of actual interaction. And so as much as I love my wife and as much as she loves me, I do need to be able to talk to other people and spend some time with other people, just like she does as well. So the community, the positivity that we're really able to kind of cultivate here has been great. And then it gives me something to do in my free time that I really enjoy. And so I enjoy a lot of the different facets of Beyblade, but especially here in SoCal. We've really built something quite special here, and I'm very proud of it.
Honestly, it's the people. Like, this community is really, like, I don't know, it's great. It's like having friends that you can connect with. I think a lot of us growing up probably didn't go to tournaments or had other friends that were as passionate in Beyblade, because Beyblade is something you actually need to play with someone. Like, playing by yourself is so different than just playing with someone else. And I think a lot of us, like how I said earlier, when we grew up, we had, I guess, friends that would play, but they weren't as passionate. And I think everyone here is like passionate about Beyblade. And when you're here and meeting other people, like you feel the vibe, you know, the same passion, and they're all really cool. We all come from like very different backgrounds. Like, there's a DJ that goes here. There's a guy who owns like his whole own healthcare company. Like, you would be surprised on who's here. Like, there's teachers, you know. Like, I don't know, maybe you'll see like one of your teachers here one day, but you'd be shocked. Like, I'm pretty sure I've seen like lawyers and everything. It's just, we all just connect with Beyblade, you know. That's the best part of this.